Draymond Green just got called out, and it's not by anyone random. Reggie Miller and Richard Jefferson are putting Kenyon Martin on blast.
Is Draymond a fake tough guy? Is he calculated?
Meaning, what does that mean?
That means that he is very good at engaging.
Maybe he
with
just
you.
hasn't. I think what Kmart is saying is that he hasn't started something with the wrong person. For instance,
Draymond Green may have just made the biggest mistake of his career. And this time, it has nothing to do with basketball. It all started with one word, one comment that lit a fire. Now, we're watching a full-blown war between two of the most intense personalities the NBA has ever seen. This isn't regular trash talk. This is personal. Legends are picking sides. Locker room stories are coming out. Fans are glued to their screens like it's a heavyweight boxing match. This beef is about pride, respect, and legacy, and neither man is willing to back down. By the time this is over, it might go down as one of the realest NBA feuds in years. Oh, how did it start? Kenyon Martin went on Gil's Arena and said something Draymond Green could not ignore. He didn't criticize Draymond's stats or his role. He went straight at who Draymond is. Martin called him soft. He said Draymond is a fake tough guy, someone who only starts problems with players he knows won't fight back. According to Kenyon, all the yelling, pushing, and chest thumping is just an act, a performance. Tough talk with no real consequences. And in the NBA, that's crossing the line. You can question a player's talent. You can say they're overrated. But calling someone fake, calling them soft, that's an attack on their identity. And Draymond was never going to let that slide. Especially not from Kenyon Martin. They're both from Saginaw, Michigan. Same city, same struggle. Two guys who came from nothing and made it to the league. Draymond believed there should have been respect. Some hometown loyalty to S.O. When Kenyon went at him like that, Draymond didn't just hear criticism, he heard betrayal. And that's when everything exploded. But instead of staying quiet, Draymond fired back, and he didn't hold anything back. He went on his podcast and went straight for Kenyon Martin's legacy. Draymond called him an underachiever. He said that for a former #1 overall pick, Kenyon's career fell way short of expectations. Then he started listing receipts: 0.1 All-Star appearance, 0 championships, no all-defensive teams. Draymond made it clear this wasn't trash talk. It was a resume check. He said if he retired today, his career accomplishments would already outweigh everything Kenyon Martin did in the NBA.
Okay, this message is to Kenyon and Draymond only. I'm going to talk about both of you guys to you guys. Kenyon, or first of all, Draymond. Let me talk about Kenyon first. Kenyon was, and I know you know this. This is how I'm going to talk about both of you guys. Kenyon was maybe the most elite defender, physically, communication-wise, intensity, all the things. That's who Kenyon was. Kenyon showed up. He had a chance at Rookie of the Year, but was coming off a major injury, was still the #1 pick. That's how dominant he was in high school or in college. And when I got there and I was a defender, Kenyon was so elite defensively. The Nets were picked to finish second to last. Go ahead, now it was 25 years ago. We were picked to finish second to last in our conference. We led the conference start to finish and went to the finals. And that was because, in my opinion, obviously Jason Kidd was our Steph Curry. But Kenyon Martin was our Draymond Green.
That's when this feud went past the point of repair. Kenyon Martin wasn't letting that disrespect slide. Not even for a second. He jumped on Instagram Live and tore Draymond's comments apart. Kenyon said calling him an underachiever was pure nonsense. Then he reminded everyone who he really is. In just his second season, Kenyon led the New Jersey Nets to the NBA Finals. That's rare air. Only 5 players in NBA history have done that. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Walton, Elgin Baylor, and Kenyon Martin. That's Hall of Fame company, no debate. Then Kenyon dropped a stat that set the internet on fire. He said Draymond Green has played more games scoring 0 points, 46 of them, than games where he scored 20 or more, just 44. Let that sink in. A 4-time All-Star, a Defensive Player of the Year, and he's had more scoreless nights than big scoring games. Kenyon's message was clear. You're calling me an underachiever, but your offense disappears. That one hit deep, but it didn't stop there that NBA legends started jumping in, and things got real messy. Reggie Miller, one of the toughest and most respected shooters ever, weighed in, and he was clearly leaning toward Kenyon's side. On the Dan Patrick Show, Miller explained exactly what Kenyon meant by calling Draymond a fake tough guy. Then he brought up a moment every real NBA fan remembers. The time DeMarcus Cousins tried to intimidate Zach Randolph. Cousins had a reputation, and that's when this feud officially turned into an NBA-wide debate. He bullied players, talked trash, tried to control games with fear. But the moment he came at Zebo, it backfired instantly. Zach Randolph looked him dead in the eye and delivered a line that's now NBA legend. I put fear in the bullies. That was real toughness. No acting, no noise. And after that moment, DeMarcus Cousins never tested Randolph again. That's exactly the point Reggie Miller was making. Real toughness doesn't come from yelling, chest bumps, or fake confrontations. It comes from respect. And when guys like Kenyon Martin and Reggie Miller say that, it hits different because they actually lived it. And this feud, it's far from over. Reggie didn't hold back at all. He flat out said Kenyon Martin was right. According to Miller, Draymond hasn't run into the wrong guy yet, because when he does, everything changes. Reggie said Draymond only turns up with players he knows won't take it to that next level, that he'll talk trash. He'll chest bump. He'll shove a little. But it's all calculated. Both Miller and Martin said the same thing. Draymond knows exactly who to mess with and who to avoid. He doesn't go at the real enforcers. He doesn't step to the guys who would actually make him pay. Reggie summed it up perfectly. You're not going after the real tough guys. You're not stepping to the enforcers. And once that label sticks, it's hard to shake. That line hit different because it came from Reggie Miller, a man who lived through the most physical, cutthroat era of basketball. He went toe-to-toe with the bad boy Pistons, battled the Knicks with Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley, back when a hard foul actually hurt. When Reggie co-signs Kenyon Martin's take, it's not just noise, it's credibility. This isn't some random retired vet talking. This is a Hall of Famer who knows what real toughness looks like. Then came the wildest twist, a take from someone who actually played with both Draymond Green and Kenyon Martin, Richard Jefferson. RJ jumped on his road-tripping podcast and dropped some first-hand truth bombs that had fans speechless. This wasn't speculation. He saw both sides, Draymond's intensity and Kenyon's raw fire, and he knows what that smoke feels like. Then Jefferson said something nobody expected. He actually fought Kenyon Martin in the locker room back in their New Jersey Nets days. That's right, RJ, one of the calmest, most easygoing dudes in the league, got into a real fight with Kenyon. That alone tells you how wired Kenyon was. He didn't play games, but RJ didn't disrespect him. In fact, he gave Kenyon his flowers. He said that when Martin came into the league as the #1 overall pick in 2000, fresh off a serious leg injury from Cincinnati, he immediately changed the culture in New Jersey. The Nets were supposed to finish near the bottom of the East. No buzz, no expectations. But once Jason Kidd took over the point and Kenyon locked down the paint, everything flipped. They dominated the East and made it all the way to the NBA Finals. That RJ's take made it clear. Kenyon wasn't just tough, he was a game changer. That RJ called Kenyon one of the most elite defenders he'd ever played with. Physically intimidating, vocal, relentless, the guy was everywhere on the court. He could guard anyone, from lightning-fast guards to bruising centers, and he did it without fear. This was an era when big men weren't just tall, they were real, physical forces, and Kenyon was right at the top of that class.
1,000%. Kenyon Martin, guard 1 through 5. We could switch 1 through 4 with Jason Kidd and him. He could guard 1 through 5. He's skinny. He's a skinny boy. So the same toughness of being undersized and having to go against Alonzos and Tim Duncans and those dudes, Kenyon was very similar to you, Draymond, as an individual that would fight against people. Kenyon Martin was both of y'all have been to anger management, and rightfully so. Both of you guys have. And I've played with both of you, and you both need it, and it's also both of your guys' superpower, that intensity. That intensity is both of your guys' superpower, so I'm not surprised that two alphas in this space don't get along. I will not disrespect Draymond and all of his accomplishments, but I'm sure is not going to disrespect Kenyon and his ability. He was a one-time All-Star, but think about it. He has no all-defensive team, I don't believe, but he helmed the number one defense from my first year and my second year, our two NBA Finals years, right? Our two NBA Finals years. He helmed the number one defense. He was the center. He was the two. He was guarding every position. He was that dude. While he should have, in my opinion, it was maybe his rebounding numbers weren't high enough because you had the Ben Wallaces, you had those Dikembes. How are you not on an all-defensive team in Kenyon's defense unless you know, or if you're running those two top defenses, you should be on the all-defensive team. Now, let me say this about Kenyon. We went to two NBA Finals. We were tied 2-2 with Tim Duncan and the Spurs. Obviously, we lost to Shaq and them. We won 10 straight in the postseason back in 2002. 10 straight in the postseason, Dre. You know how hard that is. That's intensity, that's focus, that's locked in. 10 straight. Then we followed up, and we swept the Knicks the next year. So we won 14 straight games versus our conference. That was the defensive intensity that Kenyon held. Obviously, J. Kidd was the dude. He was the all-defensive guy. Kenyon should have been there. Kenyon was elite.
Shaquille O'Neal was still smashing backboards. Tim Duncan was dominating the paint. Kevin Garnett, an all-around monster. And Kenyon, undersized for a power forward, but fearless. He'd switch on a Shaq, bang with Duncan, battle KG. No hesitation, no backing down. RJ said it best. People forget the Nets went to back-to-back NBA Finals in 2002 and 2003, and both times they had the number one defense in the entire league. Guess who anchored that defense? Kenyon Martin. Here's the crazy part. Despite leading the league's best defense 2 years in a row, Kenyon never made a single all-defensive team. Not one. That's wild that RJ made it clear Kenyon never got the credit he deserved. But every real player in that locker room knew who the backbone of that defense was. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with your crew. This drama is just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next.